The entirety of last week was very interesting with the experience happening early on in the week, and with that, just so much time for me to kind of like reflect on everything. I'm realizing how important moving forward, um, not only presence is going to be in my life and bringing that practice into everything I do, but also just like unconditional acceptance for what it, which is very challenging. Like the amount of necessary like surrendering to like what is, like for that to be an actual reality is very challenging. Because there are going to often be times in life when the absolute like worst like catastrophic things are happening in an individual's life, and their life is like seemingly falling apart, right? And one's own capacity to just surrender to what is and accept it as if they had chosen it. It's wild. It's a wild dynamic when you really look at it, and like how it has the potential to like influence things on such a profound level. But that day, I just remember the overwhelming, which it's a funny word to use because it wasn't overwhelming. Excuse me. It wasn't overwhelming. It was the exact opposite of that. But it was just like I was brought to tears of joy, and it was so interesting to see how like the unfolding of the event brought me to that point. Um, I kind of want to touch base on like chaos as being something that's familiar to somebody, and as a result of that familiarity within chaos, the further seeking of chaos. It's crazy. It's absolutely wild. It's so interesting actually. Like somebody who's used to chaos, somebody who's familiar with chaos, they're going to get bored with peace and stillness. And they're actually going to seek out chaos. And if chaos is not there, they're going to create it. It's so interesting. So part of what I've been doing over this past, I would say, week now, is just really taking the time to just sit in silence, like with no stimulation, no overstimulation, doing one thing at a time, eating and just eating, right? Or I don't know, learning about something and just learning about something. It's so interesting how it changes the dynamics of how you experience things. But what's so interesting is that like there's a part of me that wants to experience this and get this message out into the world. Not that other people haven't talked about it, but what other people, or I don't want to generalize and say other people, but what I feel like so many people out there are focused on is the chaos, is the overstimulation, is the entertainment, the mindless entertainment, right? And the mindless entertainment that really serves no purpose other than dopamine hits and rushes. And it's like looking at it now from afar, it's like, all right, well, I mean, are we a society that just like, you know, indulges in that all the time because it's easy? Like, I don't know, I'm literally looking at things differently now, and it's very interesting. Um, my interest is to educate people as well as entertain. I intend to storytell, but through that teach, right? And I think that that's very important. Um, as a society, we are headed towards um, I don't know, like with overstimulation, we're just numbed. So we're looking for the next thing to, you know, lift us off, and it's like, okay, so then where's the ending to that? And it's like, well, if the message is more and more, there is no ending, and that's really dangerous. So like reflecting on that and like thinking about that, it actually makes me appreciate where I am and stuff. Like my daily practices of stillness, peace, meditation, just like sitting with myself and by myself. Um, as I've said before, I'm at a whole new place in my life, right? I'm deconditioning myself from drama and gossip. Um, I'm deconditioning myself from familiarity with chaos, which has been very interesting because you know, through many moments of my life, I remember like walking into a room and like hearing people talking about stuff and then being like, what was that? What happened? What? And that in and of itself is just a mirror of what I'm used to, what I'm familiar with. Just being tuned into things, even though you don't need to be tuned into anything. Um, so just kind of like sitting in meditation and sitting in, presence and just being with what is. You know, what's so interesting is that for many people, life is boring if there's no chaos, if there's no overstimulation happening, if there's no drama, if there's no gossip. But I would argue that the the fulfilling orchestra, if you will, lies in the presence of each moment, right? Like because so many people their dopamine receptors are like fried. Like they look at like ordinary moments of life and it's like it's not good enough. That's really dangerous because then that leads to the further seeking of more and more and more in that until you completely burn out. Whatever that means, right? Like it's very interesting. I don't intend to live a life like that anymore moving forward. I'm seeking peace. I'm seeking stillness. I'm seeking um, the opposite of everything I grew up with. Um, I'm seeking the opposite of unpredictability. I'm seeking, uh, you know, planning. I'm seeking communication, consistent and clear communication. That's the thing about humans that interests me so much. Excuse me. It intrigues me so much. We are built with so much potential, and one of the most efficient things that we can do for our evolution, for our relationships, for the positive um, progression of our evolution is communication, conscious, clear communication, consistent communication. Our capacity to communicate with each other is just like through the roof. Our potential is through the roof, and um, so many people just face so many challenges when it comes to that, and it's just so interesting. So I can say that for myself, personally, moving forward, I'm definitely going to utilize communication consistently, clearly. Um, And not only that, but there was also something that I did recently. I just want to share this before I end off here. So, um, this is actually yesterday. I was having a conversation with somebody who's very close to me. I'm not going to name any names, boundaries. um, but I noticed myself getting triggered or just feeling overwhelmed and frustrated. And I noticed my heart rate starting to increase, right? And basically what I did was I stopped myself and I communicated. I was like, I need to breathe. And then I was like, I'm breathing. And I put my hand on my heart. I put my other hand on my neck to feel my pulse. And I just continued to breathe until I got back to ground. Um, and I was literally just sitting there for, like a minute or so, just really grounding, really regrounding. And that was a huge victory for me. I've never done anything like that before, and I just really wanted to take the time to get to that place consciously. And I've been learning a lot lately about healing, about trauma, about regrounding, about walking away when it's time to walk away. Like if you recognize that you need space, take space. Don't push yourself over the limit. Don't redline it. Just take space, walk away, and come back. Communicate clearly, consistently, and follow through with what you say you need and what you say you're going to do. And it's just been such an interesting journey for me over these past, I would say a week now. I'm so excited to see what the future holds for me, and I just wanted to share that with you. Have a great week.